Good morning, everybody, and I appreciate your attendance. My name is Ray Campbell. I'm the owner of Great Florida Insurance in Palm Bay, Florida. We're located at 6255 Minton Road, Northeast, Palm Bay. We're approximately a quarter mile north of the intersection of Malabar and Minton Road. We're a full-service agency. We write most of our businesses through the property and casualty, the homeowners, the auto. We specialize in manufactured homes. We have about 6 different companies that write manufactured homes at all ages. We do a lot with the hard to place risk. You know, if you've had multiple tickets, accidents, we write those. We have companies that will write those. So if you've had a PIP claim, multiple accidents, multiple speeding tickets, we can still insure you through our agency. Our phone number is 321-241-4881. You can catch up with us on Facebook. Our webpage is palmbay1.greatflorida.com. Again, we specialize in manufactured homes, any age. Auto, we do flood insurance, boat insurance, as well as new construction, condos. We write liability only policies. So if you feel that you don't need coverage on your home or your manufactured home, but you are worried about somebody slipping, falling, hurting themselves, we can write you a liability policy only, which will cover you for those type of situations. We also write small commercial projects, office buildings, business contents policies along that line as well. Motorcycle, we write quite a few motorcycle policies. Umbrellas, which is another form of personal liability coverage that we can offer you as well. So if you do have any questions at any time, feel free to give us a call. Again, it's 321-241-4881. And as I said before, we're located a quarter of a mile north of the intersection of Malabar Road and Minton Road. So I'll be glad to open it up for questions at this point in time.
Ray, how do I know I have the right insurance? Every time I look at my statement, there's like 100,000, 500,000. There's uninsured motorists. I'm not quite sure. I mean, my insurance agent is telling me, yeah, this is what you need. How do we know we have what we need as a homeowner?
Well, I'll answer that. We'll start with the automobile policy, and then we'll go to your homeowner's policy. Now, on the automobile policy, that's a very customized product for you. Basically, what we look at is the amount of coverage that you can afford. Okay, we can start off. The basic policy that the Florida law requires you to carry is just simply property damage and PIP. Now, of course, the property damage is there for your coverage. If you hit somebody else's property and damage, you hit my car, you run over my mailbox, we'll come to your insurance carrier to repair that up to $10,000. Or you can go up to increments of 15, 20, 25,000. And then your PIP, which is your personal injury protection, which is also known as no fault. And no fault insurance is your PIP, which is coverage for you directly up to $10,000 for medical expenses. So it does not matter whose fault the accident is. If you're involved in an accident and you're injured, you always come back for the initial $10,000 PIP coverage under your own policy. Okay? Then we can go from there for liability starting at 1020, meaning $10,000 per person, $20,000 for the total accident. That liability protects you against being sued by somebody that you were legally responsible for in an accident. Okay? And then property damage starts out a minimum of 10,000, goes up to 25,000 and so forth. As I mentioned before, property damage takes care of any damage you do to anyone else's property. Uninsured motorist comes into play. That's an optional coverage in the state of Florida. Uninsured motorist is coverage for you. If you're involved in an accident with me, let's say, an accident's my fault, and I don't have any insurance, but I injure you, you can come back and collect for bodily injury inflicted upon you by an or underinsured motorist. Okay? And then the next step would be coverage for your vehicle under collision or comprehensive. And of course, collision is anything that you might collide with or they collide with you. And comprehensive is anything other than collision. Fire, theft, vandalism, window breakage. In the state of Florida, if you carry comprehensive coverage on your policy, and if your front windshield is ever cracked or broken, that is replaced or repaired for free. That's Florida law. Okay? And then you have excess medical available on your policy, along there. Did you have any other further questions?
I have one that's not even related to that. We've been watching videos today at the Home Show here in the Tony Rosa Community Center, and a couple of the companies were talking about restoration and roofing and stuff like that. My question is, how do we know, do we need flood insurance? How do we know if we don't need? I mean, that was something that was brought up, like where's the line drawn between, do I need it even if I'm not in a flood zone? Like, can you explain that a little?
Sure, I'd be glad to. Let's take a step back a little bit and we'll look at the homeowner's coverage, okay? On a typical homeowner's policy, flood insurance is not part of the homeowner's policy, okay? Flood insurance is going to be for covering of rising water from the ground coming into your house, where your homeowner's policy will cover any damage done through what we call wind-driven rain. So if we have a hurricane, blows your roof off, totally, partially, you have wind-driven rain into the house, that's going to be covered under your homeowner's policy. If the wind blows your sliding glass doors in, your windows in, you have wind-driven rain through an opening, that's your homeowner's policy. But if it rains before, during, and after a hurricane, and all of a sudden you got a foot or two of water in your house, and all the windows, the roof's intact, most of that is going to be covered under a flood policy coming from the inside or from the outside into your home. Okay.
So if I am backed up to a canal, but I'm not considered a flood zone, which is actually my case, would it be better if I had flood insurance?
Of course. You know, there are certain areas that are not mandatory. If you have a mortgage on your house and you're in an A numbered, type of flood zone, your mortgage companies require you to carry a flood policy. If you're in an X, B, or C, which is not a mandatory zone, it's your option to get flood insurance on your home. And you can get flood insurance for as low as $450 a year. Mm-hmm. So it's well worth protecting yourself for that small amount.
Thanks, Ray.
Yep. Let me get this gentleman first.
Hi, question about homeowners insurance cancellation. I've been with the carrier's Hoffman Insurance, and then the actual insurer is Gulfstream. They're in South Carolina. I've been with them, I don't know, for like 5 or 10 years. Mm-hmm. The rates have steadily been going up. Last year, it went from $1,900 to this year, $2,900. So I got into like a 6-pay, where I pay 6x the premium just to kind of break up the pain.
Right.
And so that was, it's coming along. I've been making my payments. I'm need to make a third payment, but I got an email from my insurance agent that the Gulfstream is canceling 20,000 households in the state of Florida, and I happen to be one of the lucky ones. So first they renewed my policy, but they increased it $1,000 to try to get me to run away, but I didn't. Right. So then they brought out Plan B, which was to cancel my insurance policy. So I've got until like late June to get that enforced, but
the 29th, does that ring a bell?
I think so, but so the email from the middleman, the insurer, said, I talked to her that there's something about like statute 2 that permits him to do that. It just seems like going right into storm season. That doesn't seem legal to me, to be able to just dump you out on your ass in the middle, before storm season.
There's a couple companies that are doing just that right now, and basically, just had one of my insureds call me. They just renewed their policy last September, I think it was, and they're getting that cancellation notice, and it's not, you gotta make sure you look at it, it's not being canceled on your renewal date, it's being canceled short, okay?
Yes,
And,
exactly.
so we have to go through hundreds of policies, and we have to rewrite those policies before the 29th.
I mean, it just seems like we should be given, you know, like a 6-month notice or something, especially getting, you know, hurricane season starts in June 1.
Right.
You know, had I been notified of this earlier when we still were the dry time, and part of it is they don't like the age of my roof. I mean, but it's still okay. I've had it inspected, it's still okay, but in the eyes of the insurance company, they don't like it, so.
Right.
But I've never had a claim. I've never had a single claim. I've paid them tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars. I've never had a single claim with them. Nothing. And here they coming and canceling my homeowner's insurance? So is that legal or no?
Yes, it's legal, yes, and they have to give you that notice, I believe, off the top of my head, it might be, cancel short, might be a 45-day notice.
Right, yep.
Okay, but what my suggestion is to you is to call and get a policy secured as soon as possible. Even if you get it, you can start it now, and you know, they'll send you a refund back, or you can make it future effective to the 29th, I believe, is the date.
So also I've got to get a wind mid inspection, which okay, I've gotten those before. I guess those are required every year, no big deal. It's like $150.
Right.
And I'm also required to get a 30-year home inspection because of the age of my house, and it's required to have to go in and check your water heater, check your air conditioning system,
Right.
check behind the toilets, check under the sinks. You know, they're looking for leaks for internal water damage. I understand that. And then they also said they wanted copies of my water bill and my utilities bill. I'm like, what? You know,
Yeah.
I guess if push comes to shove, I can provide it, but I see that like kind of, you know, I don't really want to give them that information. I don't really see that's, you know, necessary, but I mean, I guess if push comes to shove, I have to. But does all that make sense as far as the process flow?
I'm not familiar, I've been doing this for 32 years, I'm not familiar with that last part about your utility bill and water. I don't know why they would need that, unless they're looking for.
They're probably looking for water leaks or something.
Slab
You know,
leaks,
if the water
that's what I was
consumption, if they
looking
saw
for.
it like ramping up, they say, hey, what's going on here? So,
Right.
you know, I can understand that.
Yeah.
And I guess the power bill, they're probably looking for like some malfunction with the air conditioning system or something through the power usage. I'm
That
guessing.
could be
I don't
it, but I've never had a company require that, to be honest with you, but,
Okay.
like I said, your 4-point and your wind mitigation, you need to get that done. The 4 points are normally good for 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
where the wind mitigation is good for 5 years.
Okay. So if I know they're flaky, like my water heater's kind of flaky, I should probably get that done before the inspector comes in, right? Just to save
Anything you
myself
could do
a call back.
to have a clean report is in your best interest on that, so.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have a card or something I could give you
Sure,
a call? I'm
yep,
just
yep,
double
I got a
check.
booth out here too.
We're finishing the video, so.
Pardon?
Here you go, Sid.
Oh, thank you.
Do you want to finish? One second. Let us finish
It's okay.
first.
Oh, okay.
So you want to say bye?
Whether you have more questions?
I had a question. I live in a mobile home park. Is there anything special that I need to be aware of as far as insurance?
Let me just grab the card.
Excuse me. You live in a mobile home park?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, there's nothing special that you need because you live in a mobile home park. You just need a mobile home, manufactured home policy. And a lot of the parks that I deal with, like Holiday Park on Malabar Road, you know, Lakes of Melbourne, we deal with them all. And most of those folks in their main office have a hurricane preparedness type of booklet for all their residents and stuff like that. But on the manufactured home policies, you know, the older ones, we just need 4-point inspection. Wind mitigation, they don't get any discounts for wind protection. But we want to make sure that everything's been updated on the mobile homes and they have the proper tie downs, framing into the ground, into concrete. Yep, so that's the only thing. And then to finish up on your question on the homeowners coverage, of course you have your coverage A, and people are always coming back and saying, well, I got a roof that's 15 years of age. Okay, a lot of companies now are in the process of reviewing their guidelines, and I've got companies now that will not insure a house if the roof is over 8 years old. I got companies that won't insure it over 10 years of age, and then at 15. Some of them will go to 20, but I need a roof certification that says there's a useful life of 5 years on the roof on that. But some of the things that we review with our folks is obviously the coverage A, which is your dwelling. We want to make sure with the cost of construction going up that they've got plenty of coverage there. Coverage B, which is your contents. We look at that because most companies will automatically give you 50% of your coverage A for your personal property. And if we're insuring your house for $300,000, you might not need $150,000 worth of contents. So we can lower that usually down to 15, 25% and save you some money there. And then you have other components of your homeowner's policy. Of course, is your liability. And then we have loss of use. And loss of use comes into play if you are in a hurricane or fire damages your house and you and your family cannot live in that house while it's being repaired or rebuilt. That's for additional living expenses if you had to go rent an apartment or stay in a hotel for a short period of time. And that cost of living or additional living expenses will go out to a certain percentage or for 12 months, whatever is the shortest period of time on that. So there's things we can do. We look at your deductibles and see if you're carrying a low of $500 or $1,000 deductible. Sometimes by bumping that up to $2,500, that might save you another $200 or $300. And then removing replacement costs on your contents, that could save you another, $200. So by the time we're reviewing your policy, and if everybody's in agreement, we might be able to save you anywhere from $500 to $600. And usually that would combat the increase that your policy went up for the renewal period.
Thank you, Ray.
Okay, no problem.